Okay, ladies and gents, algebra students, here we go for another fun day. Here's what I would love to see you do today. Make sure you're showing all of your work as clearly as you possibly can, because I know some of you probably aren't doing as much, but I really need to see that. Okay, so today we are doing kind of the same thing, except now it's not just one-step equations. It could be 2 steps or 3 steps, so more work basically needs to be shown. Okay, so basically an inverse operation are two operations that undo each other. We've been doing that. So if I say p plus 10, what's the opposite of plus 10? Minus 10. So that's an inverse operation. If I say x divided by 2, how do I get rid of divided by? Well, I multiply. So that's all that means. Okay, so here's a quick one. Again, take your calculator out because we might have decimals and fractions. Draw that line. Okay, so watch. This is exactly how much work I need you to have. So first things first, do you see that 2.5 is attached to the x? Leave that. Okay, I want it to get it to what we were doing the last few lessons. So first thing, get things with x's on one side, everything else we call those constants on the other. So what's the opposite of minus 13? Plus 13. Okay, and we have 2.5 times x equals 15. Now it looks like what we've been doing, but do I need to write all of that down there? Yes, I need to bring down that 2.5 and the equal sign and everything. Okay, now I want to get x by itself. So what's the inverse or opposite of multiplying? Dividing. And I imagine this is where you might want a calculator. X equals, and I do 15 divided by 2.5, and I get 6 right from my calculator. Okay, if I want to double check, right there. So if I were to put a 6 into x in the original equation to check my answer, and I do 2.5 times 6 minus 13, I better end up with 2 or it doesn't work. And in my calculator, I double checked it. Yep, it works. Okay, same thing here. Now I know you did some of this last year. Tricky. Do you see I can combine like terms first? So let's combine like terms. Remember, you can't combine them with a left or a right side of the equal sign. So that's why this 15 stays. 2 plus 4 is 6. And I'm going to change this to be plus a negative d. So think about this as plus a negative 1d. Okay? Okay. Now, oops, I missed my equal sign there, didn't I? Okay. So now step 1, get negative 1d by itself. So I'm going to minus 6 because it's a positive. So what is 15 minus 6? If you're unsure, I know you all have your calculators ready, and you have a negative 1d there. Now, I don't want a negative d or a negative 1d, so I just need to divide. Cancels out. 9 divided by negative 1 is negative 9 equals d. Easy peasy, right? I hope so. Okay, the next one. Draw that line in. Remember, the f divided by negative 4 is attached. So what do we move? The minus 5. So add 5 to both sides. If you need to, again, bring that down. Gotta happen. Negative 9 plus a positive 5 is negative 4. Okay. And now, how do I get rid of a divided by 4? Remember, I multiply by 4 or 4 over 1. But you just have to somehow remember that a top and a bottom can reduce or cancel. So I'm left with f equals negative 4. Okay. Is that right? No, Mrs. Strebler. It is actually negative 16. Ha, ha, ha. Sometimes I do that on purpose. Sometimes I don't. Okay, here we go here. Now, whoa, this seems like really hardcore all of a sudden. Okay, you know what? Do you see this top? It's all together. It's like an equation. So we're going to ignore that to start. How do I get rid of a whole bunch of stuff divided by -3? Well, what's the opposite of dividing by -3? Multiplying by 3 or 3/1. So this only happens when you have like a mini equation on the top of a fraction. Okay, cancel those out. So you have q plus a -5. The only reason that's in parentheses is so you don't get the negative and the plus confused. And that gives me 24. And last things last, I'm not going to actually subtract. I need to how do I get rid of a -5? I'm going to add it. That one is tricky. You have to think what makes that -5 go away. That's a tough one. Okay, and that is actually now 29. Again, you can check all of these by substituting 29 in for Q and doing the rest of the equation to see if that actually equals 8. Okay, one more. Again, now do you see the like terms? Do you see we have 9z plus a -4z? That gives me 5z's. -5 equals -5. I should have wrote that in black. I'm a little off on my colors now. Okay, so by combining the like terms, I have 5z. This -5 just comes from there, equals, and the -5 just gets brought down. Okay, now keep the 5z, get rid of the other stuff. So it looks like what we've been doing the last few days. Now, this is a -5. So I'm going to add it because adding is the opposite of subtracting. So we have 5z equals, so what is -5 plus a +5? 0. Okay, this looks weird, but we can do it. Divide both sides by 5. Z equals, in your calculator, if you're not sure, do 0 divided by 5, and it's just 0. 0 is a number. You are all good to go. It's okay. 0 is a number. Okay, now the next two problems deal with distribution. We talked about it. We didn't really do it yet. So that's those little rainbowy things that your teachers taught you in the past. So distributing something means taking 4 times -z, which is -4z. Now you might want to change that up, and -4 times -12 is 48. And then I'm just going to copy the rest down. Now, let's solve. Okay, distributing means taking what's ever outside parentheses times what's inside. Okay, leave the -4z, move everything else on the same side. Be careful. Okay, that goes away, so I still have that -4z. So what is 42 minus 48? I would do that in my calculator, or you think of it as 42 plus a -48. Either way, you're ending up with -6. Okay, and now last step, and you're going to show all of this work, dividing by -4. So in your calculator, if this makes you panic a little, just do -6. Remember, it's not a minus sign, it's negative. Divided by -4, and you get 1.5. Okay. Okay. Yet another one. Now be careful here. Change the minus signs to plus the opposites, because this one might throw you a bit. Okay, I'm going to draw in that line. Have your calculator handy. 33 equals 12r. Now I'm going to distribute a -3. So bring down that plus sign. So I have -3 times 9 to start, this part right here. And I get -27. And this plus sign gets brought down. And -3 times -r is a negative times a negative is a positive 3r. Okay, this is a long one. Combining like terms, we end up with 33 equals, okay, 12 R's plus 3 R's is 15 R's. And that here, negative 27, just gets brought down. Okay, leave the R's, add 27. Because it's a negative, that's the only way it goes away to 0. Think about that. Okay, 33 plus 27, if you need your calculator, you go for it, is 60. 15R. Do you see how I'm writing every little step? That's what I would love for you to do. So 15 times R divided by 15. Okay, so 60 divided by 15 is in fact 4. And I still have to write down equals R. Okay, go back, double check those. If it's too much, I expect to see every single one of those steps though, just so it's easier to find your mistake. If you happen to make one, which you probably will because it's math and we sometimes make mistakes, and that's okay. Okay, now here's 2 problems. First, we have to write them out. Are you ready? So it says 6 times the sum means plus of a number we don't know. So when you see a number, think of it like X, Y, N. That means your variable. And 15 means equals 42. Okay, so now 6 times the sum of a number and X. That sounds, it's not just 6 times X and add 15. That's not what it's saying. It's 6 times the sum. So 6 times something I'm going to add together. Well, the sum of a number, we don't know, we said X, and 15, and then you see the word is, negative 42. Whew, that was a good one. Now, what's the first thing you do? Draw in that line and distribute. Okay, remember, so 6 times X is 6X. The plus comes down. 6 times 15. Again, don't know it? You've got your handy dandy calculator. And now continue to solve. We want to keep the X's, but we want to get rid of the 90. Be careful. You either need to change that. So we have 6X equals negative 42 minus 90, or plus a negative 90 gives me negative 132. Divide by 6. Divide by 6, and I get X equals negative 22. That was a doozy one. I will admit that. That was a doozy. Okay, the last problem says the difference. What does difference mean? Subtraction of 3 times a number we don't know. Let's call it N this time. A number and 10, and then here's your is 14. So the difference of 3 times a number and 10. So 3 times a number, and the difference means subtraction, and 10 is 14. Reread that again, the difference. So I'm subtracting 3 times a number and 10. And then that is 14 is the easy part at the end when you see the word is. Draw the line. Again, leave the things with the variables. Add 10, because that's the inverse or opposite of subtracting. So we have 3n equals 14. Okay. And divide by 3. And we got 14 divided by 3. So n is, it says 4.6 repeating. And we'll just leave that as is. Okay. Okay. So double check, go back if you're having a hard time. Here's the worksheet is attached in Schoology. Please make sure you're checking your work and then doing the formative learning check. Again, for the formative learning check, if you don't do well the first time, you have unlimited attempts at that, so make sure you're going back and doing that. Ask me questions, send me an email so we can meet and let me know how it's going, okay? Have a great day, people.